Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a magical day. Episode of today even more magical because today we're doing Queensrÿche and we're going to do a suggested video. I got two suggestions from it from last reaction that we did, and it is the Lady Wore Black. It's specifically the live Tokyo performance from 1984. So this is going to be very interesting because it's one of their lives. I am concluding with one of their lives, so it's just going to be very intriguing to see how they perform. I've seen them live before. I've done a live reaction to their live performance before, but it's been long, and it's good to get more than one live, you know, in the whole reaction set. So, very interested. Let's see how this is going to go. It's also long, so you're going to join a big reaction. But yeah, I'm curious. Oh. It's quite interesting how at this point, I'm not surprised by how interesting and fun Jeff's voice is. Because, like, I can't. It's at this point, he's, like, got that voice that's so special, unique, and interesting. And it's always like, oh, okay, I'm gonna listen to this voice again. So it's just such an enjoyment. I'm, like, unfazed. I love it. But it's true. His voice has something very special and very interesting, where he has a lightness, but also a power to the end of his voice. So he starts off strong, but he also goes light with it, close to his chest voice, with a bit higher up. And it's just pretty interesting to see how, like, throughout, like, there's like a blend, something's going on with his voice, whatever he's singing. It's very interesting. It's his voice itself, I think, is very unique when he's singing. And then he just, like, goes deeper and higher quite easily and in an interesting way because his voice is so... I don't know how to describe it. I do feel like it is his voice, his own voice is like this. Very interesting. But I'm guessing it's also a mix that he's using, like a blend of different layers of his voice. But it's not easily distinguished, so it might just be his chest voice. Which is very interesting because it's a very special kind of voice, if you know what I mean. You don't really listen to that kind of lightness, but also powerful kind of vocal every time. Okay, this reminds me a bit of In the Eyes of a Stranger. That gives me that kind of vibe. Because of the, I think, where it hits, like the tone and the rhythm it hits at. Da da da, da 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 da. It gives me that kind of music because I love that song specifically. And I've listened to it maybe too many times. I specifically, like, distinguish that small tone that they have in this song as well, and I'm like, oof. It hits there. I feel like I think of that song easily through that. But it's very different, and it's quite nice to see how differently it's done. Where you use a bit of that melody it's not even finished. It's not like the whole rhythm. It's just like a portion, but you can still kind of guess like around where it would be. But it's interesting to see it not be there and have something new in its place. I love that hold in the vocals. That was beautiful. I also love how different and refreshing it is to get a drum finish before you go lower in the song than like a guitar or something, because it lowers its like volume even more. Like its expectation of going lower is even more, and it's an illusion because they're not going lower than they would go. It's just like because you use that instrument. It's also more rare to get a drum finish, so it's very, very interesting. The blend in his voice too there. Okay, I love what they're doing here. First of all, I absolutely love that the drums, when they're not keeping rhythm or tempo or whatever, what they're doing is that they're going lower. So it's way, way lower than any kind of drummer would go, and it gives it that heavy tone and that deeper depth it needs, especially because it's a slower song. It's a more mysterious song. It is kind of like a Queensrÿche song in that sense. Queensrÿche does tend to like add a mystery everywhere. I don't know why, but I love it. Love a good mystery. And this music's perfect for that aura of like tension. And the drums I think, are just like a huge part of it. So it's just the bass, and it enhances the whole thing since their mystery aura is part of their identity as a band. That's really, really enjoyable in that sense. And then you have that guitar solo. Now, first of all, I love that it's slow. I loved the first bend note. Beautifully done, crisp. But also still like that slow dragging feeling of that solo was done throughout. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't to like climax. It wasn't to like quicken the song. It just was to like be part of a song, which is very interesting because usually you use a guitar solo to either enhance, go through a break in an intense way. This way, way different. It was to drag out the song, to prolong it, but to also emphasize a few things in a very similar way to where the levels of the music were before anyways. So it's just really like bizarre because you don't expect it to be that way, and it's really fun to see it happen. I also love the bass playing around and behind the guitar solo. Loved how it was done. Could hear it crisp and clean, very deep and beautiful, and with the drums combined, so nice. I also love how the guitar solo finishing kind of had a dragging end note kind of chord sequence, which was really, really beautiful, and just you just don't know if they finished or not. They could have just gone on with it. It's really fun because it's like the guitar solo is for once blend into, but also stands out of the song itself, the music. It's really interesting. Love the fade there. I love how the bass goes on. They've also kept that kind of low level of music they were performing by having the bass keep on the rhythm and the level of the rhythm that it was at. The music pitch, I mean, like it was lower. They kept it lower. They continue with it. So they drag out that mystery, like tense, aura, eerie feeling kind of atmosphere. And they're doing a really good job, and I love it. It's so fun, and it's so different than, let's say, other bands or other songs that they've done themselves. So it's really beautiful. I love how they build up all this here and now. It still feels lower than they would go because we do know that Jeff can go way higher in high notes. But I also love the contrast already because Jeff's vocals are anyways lighter and higher, but also more dense in a way. Not dense. No, his voice is not dense. His voice is strong. It has like a very like deep undertone to it, I would call it, where you hear a power in it, but it's also quite high up as a voice, like as a tone that he chooses to perform in. He just likes to go a bit lower at times at the ends, or like as like to deepen up a few parts, but his voice is mainly towards the light parts, higher pitched and stuff. So it's really, really like coming to antithesis with the whole like musical part here, and then here coming in with a more climactic ending, I feel like, which is really fun because we've had a pretty deep performance until now, pretty low one, in terms of like the pitch and everything of the whole song. And now we come in and we add more climax than the previous time that we sang the chorus. And it's really, really like, you feel that it's higher up, but you're like, oh wait, no, the whole song was way deeper and way like dragged out in length and notes and like extended like musical like bits and stuff, compared to like quick or like intense and like bit insane climaxes and stuff. No, they were smoothly building things. They kept it rarely simple. It wasn't like this. It was like this. And then you had this part that kind of spikes up, but very small, like little. And when it does spike up, it does it in a very smooth way. Again, like it's so interesting. This song is quite interesting indeed. Okay, that was really fun. I love how they ended that. That was really pretty. I really enjoyed that. This ending I feel like was really interesting because because you had that pause and then the drums went back in and they didn't go like for the finishing blow. They went for a small session kind of blow, like stop. And it was really interesting compared to like the whole like just like finishing like note that was really strong and would have just hit you and left you hanging. Like this was like a small session finish, which was very interesting. Really enjoyed it. Pretty different than the usual, but that's what they like to do. I feel like that was also a bit different than what they, as an identity of theirs, they do. I really enjoyed the different guitar solo we had. How the drums behaved compared to usually. How everything was a bit lower, so Jeff's voice being a bit higher towards his chest voice, but not too much, also stood out. And just the whole thing, just I think gives a bit more value towards, singing a bit heavier or longer and slower, a few notes, compared to being quick and intense, into climaxing quickly and having a bunch of climaxes. They show a different beauty in the sense of like the music being a bit longer, slower, and they bring something different out. It is part of their identity, and that's why they do it. They have that mystery factor, and it shines through definitely in the song. So I get that one of the reasons is that, but even if it wasn't, I feel like they would still make a song like this, and it's really, really fun, and I really love that they brought out so many different things into it. Like, I also got to listen a bit more to Jeff's voice here because he was closer to his chest voice. And it's definitely his own voice that can sing like that. Like, his chest voice is that special voice, that very interesting vocal that you don't hear for everyone. There's a very interesting tone to his voice, and how he sings things is very, very different than any other singer. In terms of speech, I'm guessing he would also speak differently than any other person, like the regular human being. I don't know in what sense, but that's the like vibe he gives me, the mood he gives me. I don't know. And yeah, I enjoyed that he didn't go full out with his high notes, and I got to enjoy a deeper, lower parts of his voice and a bit more of his chest voice in such a way that they don't get overshadowed by just like the high note after. You know, it's very interesting. I really had fun with it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications for not this Saturday, but after 3 weeks go past from this week and on, like Monday, and then the next Monday, and then the next Monday, on the Saturday of that next Monday, around the 3rd of November, I think that's a Saturday, I will be doing part 4 of the drawing of the band, and I hope you guys are excited to come and see the band Queensrÿche along with a lot of like very, very fun artists to draw, and like 2 bands, 3 bands, and 2 artists. And it's gonna be quite interesting, to be honest, and I hope you guys will like it. I hope you guys find it interesting. And yeah, so if you guys are interested, come ahead and join. If you're not, they're free to go. For now, bye bye.